I mean, this to me is like me and my boys growing up. And, I love the guys and love the characters. And I think, that's what it's about. It's about friendship and loyalty and guys who came from nothing, who are suddenly living in this fantasy world. And at the end of the day, still appreciate each other more than all the toys and the trappings. So.
What I love about the story about Entourage is that it's more, the collective than the individual, which is strange because we live in a very individualistic society.
Yeah. I mean, that, people say, is the show realistic? That's probably the most unrealistic thing it is. It's about these guys, because I think male wish fulfillment is really that you could still be with your boys from childhood and you can do all of these incredible things, but usually, life gets in the way and you just don't have the time for it. But that's what it is with these guys, and honestly, that's how it kind of is with how I grew up and how Mark grew up, and that's kind of what we try to showcase in it.
Why do you think people get so hooked to characters like the characters in Entourage?
I think that's the reason. I think that they see themselves and their friendships in this situation and go, what would I do if my best friend was a movie star? And everybody's got the less good-looking brother and the party friend, and then the friend who's the kind of the moral compass of the group. So I think everybody can relate to that group.
Why do you think Entourage was so successful on the small screen, and I'm sure that it's going to do well on the big one?
I hope you're right. I pray. But I think, like I said, it's the friendships and the relationships. And, obviously everybody loves to see the glamorous side of Hollywood and stuff, but at the end of the day, the reason that there's been a lot of shows about Hollywood that didn't work is because they were kind of making fun of the whole world, and they weren't really getting into the reality of it. And again, I think it's, taking these everymen and putting them in this fish out of water society and just going, wow, look at what we're living in, and seeing it through their eyes is fascinating. So.
You shot in real situations like the Golden Globes, real restaurants. How friendly was LA as a location for Entourage?
LA is the best, and we love shooting here, and really the movie is a love letter to LA. I don't think there's a lot of movies about LA that look as good as this movie, and it's because we love it, and we wanted every frame of it to look beautiful and people to understand that this isn't some silicone town with a bunch of phony people running around, especially, lots of New Yorkers like myself are now out here, so we've infused some flavor, but it's a great place. It's a great place to live.
How different was it, your experience as Entourage TV, as the showrunner, director, creator, and now as the director of the film?
Well, the biggest difference was I was actually had a finished script, and I didn't have to write another one. So I could actually focus on making the movie, as opposed to when we were doing the show, I was writing episode 5 while we were shooting episode 4, and that was very stressful. This production was actually the most pleasurable time I've had in my whole career. So.
Well, because, as you said, you didn't have the pressure.
Exactly. And also writing is very difficult for me. So the producing and the directing, that's kind of the fun stuff. The blank page and figuring out what everybody's going to do is the difficult thing. So to have that out of the way and be able to really focus on the set and make it as great as possible was the script.
I think that the film works even if you don't know the show.
Yeah, I hope.
And how do you accomplish that? And
I mean, it was really important to us that we didn't, rest on the fact that people might have seen the show, because we know, it was on HBO, which is great, but there's still this whole giant world that's never heard of it, never seen it. So I wanted to make sure from minute one that you understood these friends and what their relationships were and what they were doing and where they were from. So hopefully that comes across.
Has technology changed the way we relate to popular culture?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when we show it in the movie, TMZ didn't even really exist. I don't think it existed when we started this show, and especially for celebrities now, it's impossible. There's no hiding from anything. You do anything, you're going to get caught for it. So. What
has been the most satisfying experience for you about this great show or film now?
Well, I mean, that we've been able to last it. I'm sitting here talking to you, what is it, almost 13 years after we first conceived of this is pretty unbelievable. If you would have told me that, I wouldn't have believed you, so that's amazing.
When do you think this incredible quality of the small screen started? In which show?
What do you mean?
Like, in the last, I think, 15 years, the quality of television has changed.
Oh, yeah.
We watch much more TV than...
Yeah, well, I mean, the TVs keep getting bigger and better, and filmmakers have realized how difficult it is to make a movie, and it's like this movie. You got one weekend, and you screw up, and it's like, okay, all that work down the drain, but with a TV show, You know, even Entourage, we started building after the first week and building. We had a chance to grow, chance to learn. But I think the last 15 years have been, and I don't know where the start was, but Sopranos is certainly, you know, one of the ones that I think of that really changed television. But I mean, TV is amazing right now. I mean, I could sit home all day and just watch. So,
who are you in the show, in the movie? A little bit of everybody, or?
I mean, I'm a little E and Ari kind of weird combinations of, you know, but yeah.
I thought it was great the fact that Ari is the principle of authority and reality, right? But at the same time, he could be a jerk, but he's very likable.
Yeah.
How did you accomplish that in the writing, or is
Well, I
his
think-
delivering, or?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's both. I mean, Jeremy obviously brings in. I mean, he's incredible. So, but I like to think that I saw that in the beginning, that this character, his loyalty, and that he's just bluster. Most of it is just talk. And if as long as you're on his team, and those are the people I grew up with. You know, sometimes they were crazy, and but they had your back all the time, which is important.
Vince, the main character or one of the characters, has this very idealistic sense of justice, and he doesn't want to sell out.
Yeah.
Where did you get that, and is that you, or?
That is definitely not me. That is definitely, I mean, I wrote it obviously, but that is Adrian. You know, Adrian, it's kind of how Adrian is in real life, and he brings that. And from the second we first put him in front of the camera, he has that feeling like life is good. And I don't know, look, he looks like he looks, and he feels good, and it usually works out for him. So I think a lot of that is from Adrian, though.
Why do you think we're all so fascinated with Hollywood as a destination or a lifestyle?
I think, you know, people dream fantasy lives, and they watch these people in movies, and they wonder, you know, how are they different from me? And what we try to do with this show is basically show this is just you. They just happen to be in this circumstance and be getting these things, but they have the same problems and the same lives and the same relationships as everyone else.
So, what are you going to be? Are you going to be directing more films, or you want to go back to TV, which is great? Or?
You know, I look at it the same way. You know, the way we shot Entourage was like a movie every week. So, I don't know. We'll see what's next. I'm supposed to do a movie in September, but who knows? Right now, I'm just focused on this. So.